Welcome to my personal garage at my house. I've lived here for about a year, and unfortunately, I've just found out that if we get about 11 inches of rain over the course of a weekend, it will flood pretty bad. So we had, as you can see, quite a bit of water in the garage. The water line you can see is actually right here in my Cappuccino. So right about at the top of the tire, I measured over on the wall over there, about 19 inches of water. 21 inches, sorry, my bad. This whole area was underwater. I didn't even know about it. It had all drained away by the time I was home and like looked over in the area, so I didn't even know that anything had gone wrong. My dad came into the garage for something and called me and let me know that stuff was not quite right. Everything that was on the floor has kind of moved. All these bins, these jugs right there, they were over there and floated all the way across the garage. Cappuccino has water damage up to the shifter. Camaro, similar situation. Luckily, the Evo was on jack stands, but it's still flooded. But yeah, let me show you around. Bunch of body panels from the S2000 and the MR2. That's the MR2 dash. Luckily, all this stuff didn't really care about too much. And now, makes it easy to throw away. That's kind of the silver lining that I'm finding, is that sometimes I have a hard time throwing stuff away. I think we all do, right? You're like, oh man, I might be able to find a use for this. Like, somebody could want this, I could sell this. And then 2 feet of water comes through and really makes the decision a lot easier for you. And I put all of the stuff that I kind of cared about, car parts wise and stuff, into big plastic bins. And this floated from over there in the paint booth all the way over here. But all this stuff just stayed on top of it like a little boat. So all this stuff is okay. And then everything inside this bin is still dry. So that kind of saved my butt. Saved me probably a good bit of money. Yeah. All my Evo spares, still okay. You guys haven't seen this for a while, huh? The old Mara. This was underwater to about there. So about halfway up the battery, which is a bummer. Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously not super concerned about this car. It's a cool car, and we were gonna do a little bit of stuff with it. Hey, it's my dad.
I didn't do this. I couldn't open the wrong door. So what happened?
Yeah, my dad actually found the damage. But the interior of the car, Ben made the very keen joke that looks kind of like how it was when we first bought the car, in that it is full of water. Yeah, like really full. Yeah, the water was all the way up to the middle of the seat. So you can see. The Evo is in a little bit better shape than the Camaro. You can see this front bumper was just sitting here and it was fully submerged. This poor Plazaman intercooler cannot catch a break. Either it's filled with oil and turbo shards or it is fully submerged in water. But luckily the car is sitting a little bit higher than it would have been, a good bit higher than it would have been if it was on wheels, seeing as how it's on jack stands. You can see on the caliper, that's where the water line was, so it would have been right about there. The interior is a little bit worse for wear. Yeah, that hurts pretty bad. That does not feel great. There's water, if you step around, there's water in the trunk. All these wheels, these were all stacked nicely. I think my wing actually survived. My wing was sitting on top. Hey, it's not destroyed. They build these Evo wings pretty tough. Yeah, they went all the way over there. My dehumidifier also floated. My dad said it was still running when he walked in. just doing its best. You know, I got a dehumidifier because I was trying to prevent mold in the garage. It's telling me I need to empty it. Let's see. Let's see, where does this even... I don't know, looks pretty empty. What were you doing, huh? Should have a bunch of water in you if you were actually dehumidifying. Poor guy. It says humidity, 90%. I think that's as high as the
front of it here.
the gauge goes, yeah. I think unfortunately the biggest casualty out of all of this is everybody's favorite little car. Given that it's so tiny, it just filled completely, very easily with water, like up to half, but basically up to the steering wheel. Yeah, the bottom of the steering wheel is damp. So this one is probably totaled. What a shame that the smart car wasn't here, you know? But, you know, what are you gonna do? It's just stuff. Luckily I've got Mark here and Ben. And, you know, like I said, it's a good opportunity to get rid of some stuff. I always feel like I have too much stuff and I don't want to own so much. So Mother Nature has made that a lot easier for me. Let's start cleaning up, I guess. Anybody want a soft top for an MR2? Still in great shape. No leaks.
Will this fit my Honda?
So the particularly galling part about this is that we didn't show it on the channel, but we got the Cappuccino running. So I've been driving it around and stuff and enjoying it, and it is fantastic. Ugh. And now it is in bad shape. I don't even know what to do with it. But I did find a very cool Easter egg underneath the driver's seat. Lucky strike. Also, whoa, like a 50 yen piece or something? What is this? So I don't want to start the Cappuccino because I'm worried that there might have gotten water that made its way into the intake tract. The water was above the air filter. You know, let's just be careful with it, right? It's a tiny little, she's fragile. Do you know what's not fragile? A 1998 Camaro with an LS1. Also, I just don't care that much about this car, and it's gonna be a real pain to try and push out of the garage. So let's see if it starts up. Okay, well, we're getting nothing from that. Ugh. Okay, this might be a disaster.
Alright, watch it now.
Sounds like you're just blowing a fuse or something. Oh, no, I know what it is. So I forgot that this car very safely has the fuel pump on direct power via a switch, but that switch was completely underwater. And so is this fuse, and so I am concerned. This is such a hazard. Okay, fuel pump is on. There's some going on with the like grounding. It keeps losing power.
It does run.
It does run. I mean, was there ever any doubt? It's a good car. Even though the Camaro technically runs, it won't stay running. There are clearly electrical gremlins in the wiring of the car now, which means that for a car with a value this low, it's effectively totaled. It was a good car. That's 2 of my cars that are now write-offs. That's probably the worst thing about this situation, but the saddest thing might be the damage to my Evo and its parts. This bin had all the parts that I had taken off the Evo last time I disassembled it. For example, starter, coil packs, a bunch of bolts, which are now covered in mud. My intercooler is just never gonna recover. That is so far. Look at that. If my intercooler isn't filled with oil and pieces of a turbo, it's got water in it. And the last thing I did to the Evo was take off the oil pan because I wanted to check and see what the bearings looked like, if there was any play on the rods. And then I just, put a couple bolts back in. Unfortunately, water is now on top of the oil pan and actually went up to the turbo, basically. Just halfway up the block, just right below the turbo inlet. So oil definitely got in, or water definitely got into the oil pan, which the motor was definitely gonna get a tear down anyways, but that's lovely. You want a spoiler? You guys want a spoiler? The S2000 was gonna get some really cool $1,500 Acura RDX MDX retrofit headlights, which I found floating face down in a bunch of dirty water with the ballast just soaked. So that's cool. We'll see if those work. Yeah. What's the other spoiler? Oh.
Dad joke.
I hate you. The Evo has a great deal of sentimental value to me. I got it 9 years ago in 2014 as a wrecked salvage title car. I reassembled it and got it inspected and titled as a rebuilt title. It's a forever car for me, and while it hurts to see it with water in it, I think the car escaped most of the damage that the Camaro and Cappuccino suffered. Most of the wiring in the car is up in the dash above the waterline. So for the Evo, this is just another step on the checklist before I get to drive it again. We just moved the Evo over because Mark very diligently cleaned the paint booth area, and now we can clean that side, then we'll move the Evo back over, and we're just gonna pressure wash everything clear and then mop everything with disinfectant so that all this dirty water hopefully doesn't turn into mold. It's been the entire day of just cleaning up the garage. I'm pooped. I'm sure Mark and Ben are both pooped. You didn't see Ben that much, but that's because he was filming, and then the rest of the time he was actually helping, I promise. Going forward, I'm going to put the Evo on higher jack stands, and I'm going to get a bunch of shelving. What to do about the fact that my garage is built apparently in a potential flood zone if we get a ton of rain, I don't know. I guess I'm going to live in fear. On the car front, Evo, it got the least damage because it was on jack stands. Also, it's a forever car. It already had a bad engine. It'll be okay. I'll take it all apart, clean everything. Motor will come out anyways. It was gonna come out anyways. It'll all be good. Camaro, I think, unfortunately guys, if you were hoping for more Camaro content, maybe I don't want to deal with this car anymore. Now that it is completely flooded and apparently having some electrical issues. The little Cappuccino. I was planning on selling this car because I have too many cars. And you know, it's worth 10, 11 grand. It is unfortunately no longer worth 10 or 11 grand because it has been basically completely submerged in water like a little Oreo. So that disincentivizes me from selling it. So I don't know, we'll see what I do with it. But it'll probably at least get taken apart so that we can dry it out and all that kind of stuff. It is just a great little car. And yeah, appreciate subscribing. And do you have any B-roll that you can cut this up with? I'm so tired.